nga eyo page handula we yagambye ya Lukwango. Ebifaananyi nabiwa Lukwango Lukwango nabikata byonna byonna.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hi Rogers, can I ask you something?
Shoot.
What does corruption mean?
Well, summarily, corruption is abuse of public power for personal gain or for the benefit of a group to which one owes allegiance. For example, when a public office is abused by an official accepting or soliciting a bribe. By the way, private people can be corrupt too, like bribing police officers to escape fines.
Okay. So exactly how does that concern me?
Well, do you pay taxes?
I guess, yeah. What does that have to do with this?
Everything. Because those taxes you pay are supposed to facilitate services you use, like water, electricity, roads construction, medicines in hospitals, name it.
Okay, that is much bigger than I thought. But it can be stopped, right?
Well, yes, it can, although it may not be as easy as it sounds. And here is the reason why. Corruption roots are grounded in our country's social, political, economic, bureaucratic traditions and policies.
So, what has kept it going this long? I mean, why don't we stop it?
Well, the main reason why it has been here for so long is because institutions are weak, either as a result of poorly defined ethical standards of public service, weak administrative and financial systems, or ineffective watchdog agencies.
What can we do to stop it?
At a national level, we must focus on strengthening the independence and effectiveness of public institutions that fight corruption. At a personal level, we must commit to never giving a bribe.
I promise I'll never give a bribe.
Well, that's a great decision you have made. Me and you now have to spread this message to all our friends. If we all do our part, corruption will be no more.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital. The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Tukulikeyo nnyo mu kuwummula muko njagala okutuusaawo okwetonda kwaffe eri mmwe abalabi baffe munnange tugenze mu kuwummula muko nga tetweyagalidde naye sometimes obuzibu tebuba bwaffe wabula embeera gye tukoleramu munnange yeriko obuzibu mu update zange zitakkiriziddwa kuggwaayo mbadde njagala okwogerako ku nsonga eya umeme okuba nti ehandinga over eri ate aba UCDL nti be bagenda kubanga ate batambuza ensonga z'amasanyalaze wanene Uganda. Munange nno abantu bano abawumeme bamalidde ddala emyaka 20 wanene Uganda ng'era bakwasaganya ensonga z'amasanyalaze bajja mu Uganda mu mwaka gwa 2005 naye ndowooza nti akaseera ka handover kabeeramu glitches nnyingi kyova olaba ntusanga obuzibu obwa power shortages here and there gavuddeko gazzeeko goonoonye kino naye nga tujja kusaba abali mu nsonga ezo basobole okubanga ate bazitereza bannayuganda basobole okubanga bakola emirimu gyabwe nga tebafunye kutataganyizibwa konna. Olunaku lwaleero mu studios negatiddwako omugenyi wange olunaku ayitibwa Mr. Atwine Bob. Tugenda kubanga twogera ensonga z'abavubuka, tugenda kubanga tutunuulira abavubuka abali abali mu byobufuzi oba abavubuka abenyigira mu byobufuzi ne youth structures ze tuyina wanene Uganda era tunuulire ne relevance yazo olowooza omuvubuka arising through the structures abeera wanjawulo kuono abayingidde abakuyita kulippira ng'olulimi lwaffe bwe lubeera alipidde ebyobufuzi nga abijoiningidde eno nga ye yavuddeyo buvine yeesimbawo okugeza nga ku bwa MP nga tayise mu zino youth structures ze tuba tulinawo so ngenda kubanga mukkiriza asooka okulaba nti abalamusaako ekyenjawulo ekiri ku show y'olunaku olwaleero nti egenda kubeera mu luzungu era nga my Luganda viewers njagala okubategeeza nti ngenda kubanga nchipingamu our Luganda here and there nenga guest gwe tulina mu studios is very comfortable in English and we allow them okubanga bakozesa olulimi lwe bali very comfortable nalwo so olunaku lwaleero our discussion is going to be in English and mbasuubiza nti Oluganda lugenda kubeera ddala lutono wabula lujja kubanga lujjamu here and there so at this moment I would want to invite you Mr. Bob to say hi to our viewers. A very good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for hosting me. I'm Bob Atwine, a youth leader in the district, that is Ruchiga district. I'm a member of the youth council. And I'm glad to be here. And a good morning to all the viewers.
Oh, it is good to have you. How is youth leadership?
Youth leadership is not easy by the fact that we do face a lot of challenges. We have structures starting from the village, parish level, sub-county, district, and then the national levels. But it is very unfortunate that the structures at the low levels, that is at the village, parish, sub-county, and actually even at the district, they are not funded, they are not given resources, because like the last time I checked how much the youth received at my district, it was just 400,000 per quarter.
Oh.
And you know Uganda has the youngest population of around 75%. We always refer to the youth as the special interest groups, but I don't think we are really meaning what we are meaning that statement.
As the special interest group?
Yes, yes, yes.
Because
I think we should do something more. Our leaders, youth MPs, the National Youth Council members, the chairperson, should do a lot to make sure that these structures at the villages are empowered. Maybe there are different projects. Yes, the government has brought some programs, including maybe like the PDM, where the youth are entitled to 30%, where they should access 30% of the money. Yes. But it is also very unfortunate that when you visit some districts and villages and parishes to access how many youth
have gotten
the resources, you will find we are doing very, very, very bad. 1%, 2% of the youth.
What is stopping the youth from accessing the PDM money?
You know, our Uganda, if I may say, the youth have been, you know, many of them, it is actually 13% of the youth currently are unemployed, are not educated.
Those are actually between the ages of 18 and 30.
And 35, yes, and cannot be employed. So sometimes now you find them, they are doing gambling. You know, HIV rates currently are
really high.
Really high. So you find some people, maybe someone responsible at the parish finds it weird, or they don't trust these youth. They think because they are not employed, they are not earning. But to me, I think it should be done the other way around. They should actually engage them, you know, do a lot of capacity building, engage them in different discussions, and then give them money. Let them make groups, get the money, and start up something. They can start different projects to empower them.
Now let us be realistic, Bob. Is it that the leaders do not trust the youths with the funds, or the youths are not organized to go and access the funds?
You see, the biggest challenge to me is the youth are not empowered.
By empowerment, what do you mean?
What I mean is, like, For the starters,
Yes.
the village has a youth committee of 9 people. To me, I would feel very happy and appreciate actually if those 9 youth committee members at the village can them alone be taken as a group. Because every village in the country has that structure, has that youth committee at the village.
Didn't I say group has to consist of 10 people?
Yes, but getting one that is something very easy, yes. So if they formed groups through those structures as a way of empowering them, and then they have a chairperson, they have a secretary for finance, they have a secretary for female affairs, and then make sure everyone performs their role. That would work very, very, very well. But you find the youth are not considered in any way. They don't have someone to talk to them. They need more of capacity building. That is actually what I may say.
Okay, talking about structures and the village committees, do you realize that only the youths in the NRM understand those structures that are even there? Because there are a lot of people, let me say, the biggest percentage of the youths do not know that they have committees at the village level, that they maybe they can use such committees to even start participating in politics. What brings about the gap?
I don't want to say it is only NRM that knows, NRM youth that know about the structures.
I am being realistic because when we do by sampling, if we go to your village, what is your village?
My village is called Kagorogoro.
If we go to Kagorogoro and do sampling, you will realize that a lot of youths do not know that these structures are even in existence.
Now, the reason being, the youth, I mean the political parties,
Yes.
you see NRM has structures from both, at all levels actually, which I think more these other political parties need to invest in. Because I'm sure if NUP, DP or FDC also had the same structures, very well functioning, they would participate. Because like I surely, there is no one in my council who is not NRM. I can state it clearly. So if these political parties empowered their youth in the villages and encouraged them, supported them to participate in the youth elections, then we would be having them. But I think here it is in Uganda, at least we have some in the structures, being that maybe we have here some political parties gain momentum and what. But up countries, I surely doubt it is purely NRM. Yes, yes.
And that brings about the youth participation in politics. Do you think the youths need to come, how do we involve the youths to come and participate in the youth politics if the structures are being taken up by one single party?
For me, still I take the blame to the political parties.
Other political
parties. NRM has mastered the game very, very well. And that is why sometimes you see, they always say maybe the president or NRM people steal elections.
But it is also known, Bob, that you cannot win any youth position. Let's say you have youth councils if you are not from NRM.
Now I have an example of Gerard Karhanga, Honorable Gerard Karhanga. He won when he was an independent candidate. He won the Western Youth MP, I think that was in 2011 or 16 there. But he was in Parliament, the Western Youth Member of Parliament on an independent candidate. He won NRM, he won FDC, he won other political parties.
Maybe he held the interests of the NRM.
No. So to me, it also, you know, politics is also about strategy. The strategy you come with on board, what you surely believe in, and how you give yourself to the electorates. What is your manifesto?
Now let us hear from you as the aspirant youth MP, Western Region. What challenges are youth facing? Let us first now understand the challenges affecting the youths, and now we come to what solutions do you bring on board?
The youth are facing actually very many challenges. Uganda having Uganda has the youngest population of around 78%, and they are below 35. But they are not employed. There is a lot of unemployment.
High employment,
yes.
unemployment rates.
Yes.
Among
so
youth.
that is one of the challenges actually affecting us. Also, another problem related to that is Uganda has the cheapest labor. If you try to move around in East Africa and the Central African, if you try to study, you find Uganda has the cheapest labor. When you visit industrial parks like Mbare, those industrial parks, you find majority of the employees are the youth. But how much do they earn? 100, 150. Yes. These are people who want to access health services. They have children, they are paying for school fees. Yeah. You know, early pregnancies came in, you find someone is 22, they have a baby, they have to look after them. So it is a very, very, very big challenge that we need, the government needs to take
to do something about
yes,
it.
Yes. Also, like I've said, 13%, actually 13.3% of the youth are not employed and cannot even be employed. That means they don't have access to education, they don't have access, they don't have any skill that someone can employ them. So it is,
they can do casual laboring, like.
But you know, these days, and by the fact that they are not trained in anything, even I don't think they can do that casual laboring the way maybe the employers want. Okay. So we need to do a lot of empowerment. I thank the president and the NRM government that they have brought what they call the youth industrial, something like
Skilling
that.
Uganda.
Skilling, yes, Skilling Uganda, where the youth have picked up and they are training them. But still, training them is not enough. Government should do follow-up on them, give them maybe startup capital, and make sure that the capital they have given them is followed, is proper and well used, and then maybe they can roll out that to, it can be continuous, or it can be sustainable. Make sure it is sustainable. If someone benefits, then let the other people, the generation, should keep benefiting from the same.
You talked about cheap labor, and I remember you said you are in NRM.
Yeah, I'm coming as an NRM.
Okay, and I want to remind you that the president refused to sign the minimum wage bill. What initiatives do you bring onto the table to now bring up as a solution to solve that problem of cheap labor?
Now, that's actually what is bringing me on board.
To go and
one of the roles
president?
Of members of parliament, youth members of parliament, is to advocate, bring policies on board that favor the young people. I think the president maybe was not engaged that well. Because
the president does not understand the importance of the minimum wage bill.
It also depends. That is what I started with. It depends on what
the approach
and what you have on the table. The president understands. He knows. That is why you say in every post he makes on Twitter, he says Bazukuru, especially the Bazukuru. So means he knows them. But what he should do, to me, we need leaders who need really to fight. You know, sometimes you don't get something on a silver plate. You have to put in a lot of efforts. Meet the president, meet other stakeholders, and not even, you know, it shouldn't actually be, we have private sector, we have different stakeholders in the youth, where someone can actually come up with a project supported by government and those stakeholders to see that the youth back in our communities can be empowered. Different projects can come on board to support them. That alone can actually empower them to get out of, you know, not all of us can be employed to these better jobs. But we can start something if we are empowered, if we are given a lot of capacity building, and if we had access to education. Yes, we have the UPE, the USE, but they are not properly, they are not well utilized to me. Okay. Because
you are this morning telling Ugandans that you are going to convince the president.
Not necessarily the president, but different stakeholders. Yes.
To take up the mantle on, because now our target is the president. He has to sign the minimum wage bill.
I think he pushed it back to parliament. That means something maybe, he's not yet convinced that means
it
maybe
has to be signed.
Yes. Maybe he sees something that is lacking. So it is upon the parliament to review the bill and then put what
now
is
talking about the youth unemployment, there have been initiatives in place to help the youth get out of that situation. You talked about the PDM, the parish development model. You go access the money. It is not a loan. It has low interest. It has 1% interest.
And it should be paid in 3 years.
And it should be paid in 3 years. What is stopping the youths from going to get that money and do something of their own?
You see, it is actually not only PDM. We
because
have,
we have
yoga,
youth livelihood
programs.
Bonabagagawale.
Yoga.
There are a lot of initiatives that have been put in place. Why is it that youths are still unemployed?
You see, we also have corruption tendencies in Uganda.
Oh.
You find if they bring these funds to the district and the sub-county levels, only those youth who, who are exposed a bit, who are empowered, would want to take that money for their personal gains. You find someone gets money to go and give to the youth groups, but he uses his head now. If he gets the money, he immediately changes his mind. He looks at the business, how he can make his family better. We have cases in different districts where people have accessed that money and have disappeared from their districts and come here in the central to start businesses, and they disappear for long. Actually, some even get the money and don't even pay it back. Because the last time I checked, I think in my district, in the youth livelihood program, they had given around 550 millions to the youth, but they had only recovered around 56 millions. Oh. You see? And then there is also no, I don't know why, but I don't think the people at the districts are doing enough to follow up on these monies. Because they also need to push. If we give you money then, do follow up, do the supervision, understand if the money is really doing what it is supposed to do. Yes, do follow up. If they are not paying, know why, see how best they can pay or what they can do to make sure at least the funds come back and help the other generations.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
We talked about having 13.3% of the youths not employed, and they can't be employed.
Yes.
Why? Because maybe they are not trained in a specific skill, or they didn't go to school to, gain a certificate. But there have been still initiatives put by the government, like skilling in Uganda. You just go with your national ID, and you choose a course that you are very comfortable in.
Yes.
So I want to understand, what approaches are you going to bring on board that are really different from what the government has put in? Because there have been those strategies to help the youth get out of unemployment, and maybe they are reluctant, or maybe they are comfortable being unemployed.
Now, you see, currently I have a youth group that rolls out in my sub-county. We are around 36 members. We started when we were around 6 in my parish. Each contributed around 30,000.
To become a member?
Yes, to become a member. And we bought a pig. So one of our members offered to take it.
To take care of it.
Then we would support him in providing feeds and what. So after that, when it gave birth, we now have to, we gave out the piglets to the members. Yes.
For free?
For free. And it was we actually encouraged that no one should sell. You take it.
Take care of it.
Take care of it. When it gives birth, don't sell.
Also give out.
First wait. As the association
grows,
we shall come and again recruit more people and also empower them in that way. And we are progressing very, very, very well. That doesn't need a lot of money. You see? It doesn't need government to first come in. But now, where the government money can help in here is that if you have access to the 30%, which is an entitlement to the youth at all parishes, if you access that money now, that is, to me, it is enough capital. If you're a group of 10 people, you have 1 million, or you have, are they 10 millions? Because every person is entitled to 1 million.
Yes.
Now, what do you start? You can do poultry, you can do piggery, you can start up, making shoes, or something that is that the community can pick up and start supporting you. So it doesn't necessarily mean that, yes, the government has done its part, although to my think we still lack the supervision, following up of funds, and all that. But to me, my main focus is that the youth need a lot of empowering, yes.
Okay.
If we empowered our youth, did a lot of engagements with them, for sure things can change.
Do you think it is about the education system being more theoretical than it is practical, that even when the youths go to school, when they come out, they can't do anything? They can't start up something of their own because they were trained to be employed.
I want to give it the benefit of doubt that now the government has looked into the curriculum.
Okay.
The people who are in secondaries and I engage with them, they tell me now they are doing more of practical work. So I want to give them a benefit of doubt that maybe in 1 or 2 years, or 3 or 5,
something might change.
Something might change. But also, actually, something that hurts me so much. You see, like those structures I told you about, from the villages, parishes, sub-counties, and the districts. When it is time for politics, like now we are going to start politics,
yes,
they will be very active. They will be engaged, they will be called for meetings, you know, and they will be facilitated. But after that, nothing
happens.
Actually, no one even thinks about them. I remember one time when we were in Mbarara in the 2020-2021, voting for the youth MP. Someone who was contesting told me, yes, we are pulling out money giving you, but you're eating your Christmas. After giving you this, you'll never hear from us because we are spending a lot of money. So our politics have been commercialized, and a youth fights to go in parliament, spends a lot of money. So when they reach in parliament, they now also look
recover the money
at ways of how they can recover the money. So I think the National Youth Council, youth members of parliament should get ways how to ensure that these youth structures can keep active. It doesn't take too much actually. To me, the partnerships that one can bring on board. Not only government, yes, government can come in, but there are very many partners and stakeholders who can buy interest, buy the, you know, if you had a concept note that can support the youth, I'm sure very many partners would come on board. Okay,
in your conversation, you emphasize the youths are the biggest. You know, we take the biggest percentage of our total population here in Uganda. Do you think the government has prioritized the youths as being the biggest population?
No, that is, it's a no for me.
As a youth, what gives you the passion to support the same government that isn't prioritizing you?
If you have a father, you want education.
Yes.
Maybe you want to start you want to go to a school of your choice, Mbarara High School, and then but he cannot afford. You don't dismiss him as the father. But what you do, you can engage him.
Okay.
He may not afford the fees and the tuition of Mbarara High School, but he can afford other fees for other schools that can provide the same education. So now, that is the reason we are coming on board.
To guide the president?
Not necessarily the president. This should be actually...
To guide the government?
To guide the government,
okay.
Yes. To see how best, if they say the youth are the special interest group, what are we bringing on board that shows that really the group is what? Special.
The special interest group.
Why? Let's do something that will get, if we don't empower the youth now, then we have no Uganda. Because if 78% of the population are the youth, and then they are not empowered, they are unemployable, they are not accessing education, then where will Uganda be in the 20, 30 years to come? So we need actually to focus, do so much about the youth, see that the future to come. You see, President Museveni in 1986 decided to go to the bush. Yeah. Maybe he was thinking something not.
Something wasn't going right.
Something wasn't going right.
Yes.
And he emerged successful.
Yeah.
He did his part. So, to me, I think the youth just need someone, you know, to get them out of the comfort zone and tell them that we need, life is real, we are struggling, but we are also not doing
We are not doing our best.
Yes, yes. We need to fight, we need to work hard, we need to do this and this and do this.
Okay, but we have youth leaders that have been in parliament for some time. Do you want to say they are not doing what is expected of them?
They are not doing enough. You see, politics, I don't know, but politics is very, very funny. If you do a survey,
yes,
all MPs, youth MPs that have gone to parliament, after their term, you find they are now fighting to become MPs in their constituencies.
Yeah.
So it makes me think that as soon as they enter parliament, now they actually put all the efforts in their constituencies back home, thinking about another election that will come in the 5 years. So I think if you're elected a member of parliament,
Yeah.
especially for the youth, then go perform. If you do well, now that's when you can first think of your constituency, of where you can stay in parliament. But we have a tendency of youth members of parliament going in parliament, and after the 5 years, they now go back to their home constituencies to gain the MPship, but which to me...
To continue eating the money.
Yes, which I think they are not doing enough, because you find we have organized, my district last year organized a youth day, but we didn't have, remember, we didn't have any...
Any youth member
the youth member of parliament didn't attend. I don't know if he even sent in, you know, a message or communicated it to my chairman.
Was he communicated to? Was he invited?
I think so, because I was engaging, I was in touch with my chairman.
Okay.
Then the minister of, I think, the late Honorable Sarah Mateke, I think she attended. You know, there is a way she actually associated with the young people, yes. So, and also, maybe encouraging the president, you see, considering the youth when he's giving them these ministerial positions, if he picked out the young generation and made sure they are in leadership, they are ministers, and those with, you know, who can easily communicate and have that touch with the youth, I think then things would change.
Now, Bwana Bob, now that we agree that Uganda has a young population, do you think the youth position is still relevant? Because that makes it actually makes it a fact that we have MPs who are youths in parliament that are not even on youth positions. So do you still believe that we need the youth position in parliament?
Actually, I was thinking, because the 78% of the youth, when you go to parliament, we have around five youth MPs, the central, western, northern, and the eastern, and then the national female MP, that is Fiona Nyamutoro. Only 5 youth members of parliament, representing interests of millions of young people.
But we have youth MPs who are not actually MPs for the youths, but they are MPs maybe on direct seats, or women MPs, but they are youths. That means they hold interests of the youths because they are youths.
It all begins with what I said before. If I'm a youth member of parliament, my role is not just to go in parliament and debate and do what? You engage. You know, parliament has around 500 MPs plus. You see, we have seen where someone is pushing for a bill, moves to political parties, engages their leadership. We need to see that. We need to see MPs fronting, youth. Youth-related issues, pushing for them. We should have leaders who are committed.
Do you believe leadership is quantitative or qualitative? Do we need to focus on the numbers of the youth MPs that we have in parliament, or we just need to look at the meaningful representation that they are doing even when they are 5 or 4?
We need the MPs in parliament, but to me, the most important thing is empowering the structures because we have them in place from the village, parish, sub-county, and the district. So if these structures, let's say, we can have a youth circle at the district. Starting with, you can make the executive at the district as maybe the members of the circle. They come from different sub-counties.
Yeah.
Then, when we got the sub-counties, let them go also down and engage the youth from the parish. Let the youth from the parish continue and engage the youth from the villages and bring them on board. Also, you know, it is actually, I'm trying to do a follow-up. There is what they call the agricultural facility loan from GOU. It is from Bank of Uganda then to these commercial banks so that the people can have access to them.
But it has no interest?
Come again?
It has no
interest? It has very, very low
interest,
interest, yes.
Okay.
But our people don't know about it. So, also, you know, if these programs the government has brought on board, if we surely made sure that the youth back in villages know this, you can go and pick the loan of 5 million. Recently, I was talking to someone who was telling me, Bob, I want to plant.
You don't need collateral to go get those loans. Tewetaga msingo. Mbubansabye plot yettaka ekyapa.
You need, but I don't think they asked for too much. I don't think they asked for too much. Recently, I was talking to a young person who says, Bob, you see, I have this land. I would want to plant coffee.
Okay.
I need manure, I need seedlings, but I have no resources.
Hey.
So I tried actually engaging Post Bank, and he's still following up. Hopefully he will get the resources. So we need more, our people need to be informed. You know, they say information is power.
Yes.
So we need to make sure that youth back in the villages get the information on different government programs and on what they can do to get better.
Oli ku Mighty Drive tubeererawo ddala essaawa zibeera 2 paka ssaawa 4. Olunaku lwa leero I have Bob in the studio, so we are discussing issues of the youths. He says we have only youth MPs representing interests of the youths, but are they really doing the meaningful representation? Should we say they hold the interests of the youths at heart, or they are there for money? That is your question to answer. It isn't mine. And at the end of this show, I'll be joined by a lady. She's going to give us predictions of the Uganda Cranes, the match that is going to happen today at 7 p.m. at Nambole. So you just stay glued on this screen. She's going to join us at the end of the show. Aberenga atuwa predictions ze Uganda Crane erimu position ki era esuubira singa bagikuba oba ewangula tuddawa tuqualifyinga oba nedda. We are continuing with issues. I will be going through the comment section to understand the questions that you have for Mr. Bob. One question is, what is the role of the Youth Council?
The National Youth Council has 11 executive members. The chairperson, vice, secretary for finance, publicity, secretary general, all that. Its main purpose is to do follow-up and do a study on how the youth of the country are doing. And then, after knowing that, you know, you cannot solve a problem without actually finding out the problem and its causes. So after that, they should come on board with problems, with solutions that can fit in solving the problems they have identified. But also I want to say, I don't want to blame the National Youth Council so much. I think they are not also funded very, very well. You know, we still have a lot of problems regarding funding. So I think they are not funding because you find they have there is a secretary for labor.
But do you remember the saga that we had about the Youth Council? The leaders eating money and forcing people to sign for amounts that they were not given.
That was when?
That happened around
recently when they had the National Youth Council.
You just wanted not to agree that it happened.
No, it happened. But you see, actually I saw a lot that was happening again about the
Do we still say it is not funded, or
the chairperson,
or the funds are mismanaged?
You see, the funds there came in when they were going for the National Youth Council.
Yes.
The National Youth Council actually every district has 3 members who are members of the National Youth Council. It has 11 executive members, but every district is
Has to
represented
give in 3
3.
members.
That is the chairperson of the youth district, the female affairs, and the secretary for finance. Those ones, once elected, they immediately become members of the National Youth Council. So I think the funds actually they were fighting for, maybe they were saying, no, we are given, this is not enough facilitation, because you find someone is traveling from Chisoro, Kapirebiong, going to Soroti, they have to get accommodation, they have all that. So I think there were, some complaints that
The
were
issue was they were given, when someone gives you 100 and they ask you to sign for 400,000.
That one I didn't, I didn't know. But
Well-
to me, all starts. You see, if we had a budget that goes to the National Youth Council every maybe financial year,
Yes.
and it is in public, the youth know that we have a National Youth Council that receives such amount of money for every financial year. Because now I'm sure, really, no one knows, apart from maybe the executive members, how much is the National Council receiving from the Ministry of Youth and what. You get?
Yes.
So if we made this information public, and then now, that's, when you know something, now you can ask for accountability. Because if you received maybe 5 billions or 10 billions, then what did you use it for? Now we would get questions, start asking these people. Because we know where they sit, we know the offices, we know them, some of them are our friends. But we don't know how much they receive. So people don't have access. The young people don't have access.
So they take it to their advantage to
Yes, they
mismanage.
take it to their advantage to mismanage the funds. Corruption, you will find someone, deals in Uganda really are becoming a very big problem. Actually, to me, I would also maybe encourage the president and his government to start taking serious precautions against people who are engaged and involved in corruption. Because they have really done harm to our country. But if they brought policies in the parliament, if they brought laws, if you're found guilty of, mismanaging public funds, then you'll be imprisoned, or they sell some of your properties to compensate and let the money go to the right people it was supposed to be benefiting.
Yes, someone has asked a very interesting question. Ask Bob what really interested him of all the political parties in Uganda to support NRM.
Now, NRM has been in power now. We are going to make 40 years in power, yes. We have to give credit where it is due.
Okay.
A lot has changed. Yes, we still have a few challenges, but for me, I'm a beneficiary of the UPE. I studied from UPE, where my parents were not paying.
Do you still say you have a few challenges? Now, the only challenges that you've just mentioned here for the youth, we cannot even term them few. So could you please say you have a lot of challenges now to deal with?
Yes, we have a lot of challenges to deal with, but you see, now we are talking about what the NRM government has done.
Yes.
It has done quite a lot. Yes, it has a few challenges of corruption. It actually, what has brought, what has made many people hate this government is corruption. Because people misuse funds that are meant to do, that are meant to benefit the people. So if the government was strict and followed up on its resources, what are these resources really doing? Are they doing what it is meant, or what really, are they doing what is supposed to be done? If they followed up on that, really we should do. I think we are not doing badly off, but we need to do a lot of supervision, reach out to people, ask them, did you receive the money? You find the money comes at the district, 1 or 2, 3 people sits down, plans for that money, and they use it alone. It doesn't even reach to other levels. But if everyone performed their role the way they are supposed to perform it, without being selfish and what, actually the NRM government would be credited for being the best, to me.
Okay.
Yes.
So that is the reason you chose to support NRM.
For sure.
You have
And I'm now supporting NRM. I'm coming on board so that I can also
NRM
now
candidate.
bring in
the person,
my experience and what I think can really take us to another step.
the person that is representing Western Uganda's youth MP, is he also NRM?
Yeah, sure.
What difference are you going to bring on board that he hasn't done? What gaps are there that you want to fill?
I told you I'm a youth. I'm a member of the District Youth Council. I last met him. I think we have met like twice from the time we voted him. You see,
That is typical of Ugandan leaders.
yes. So you voted into parliament, but you don't go again back to the
To the youths, to
the youth, the
understand.
people who
Voted
elected
for
you,
you,
who
yeah.
voted you into power. So to me, I think there is a very big gap, which I think really you shouldn't, because you're facilitated. MPs are facilitated.
Yeah,
At
they
least
do,
you know
yeah.
that. You know how much they
They
earn.
are.
So you can make a schedule and a program and say, really, I need to reach out to these people. Make plans, visit the districts, engage with them, because you're in parliament to present our interests. So, but if you cannot again access the youth, if you cannot engage with them, what are you representing? Maybe you're presenting your own interests. So there is a big gap between the youth and their leaders,
Okay.
which to my think should be, once given an opportunity really, that one will become very, very easy for me, because you'll be facilitated, you're given fuel, you're given allowances to go to the community. So that should be something very, very, very minor. But like I told you, the big challenge is that when people enter parliament, they now start thinking of their
Of how
consequences,
to,
how to keep in the parliament. So you'll find someone has entered the parliament in the 5 months, he's already engaging
the constituents.
the constituents. That is where he's actually, that is now it becomes an investment. He does not think of people who voted him, but starts thinking about
He
himself
forgets
and-
about
yes,
the cardinal
yes,
role
yes,
why
yes,
he's in
sure.
why he's in parliament. Always tell people that there is nothing about us without us.
For sure.
And we all know that youth voices are underrepresented. That you agree with me.
Yes,
Now,
sure.
what strategies are you going to employ to amplify the youth voices?
Come again?
What strategies? We all know the youths are facing a lot of challenges, as you have stated them here. And we all agree that the youth voices are underrepresented.
Very true.
What strategies are you going to put in place to amplify the youth voices?
You see what I started with? There is no way, if I may ask, have you heard of any, minus this, the National Youth Councils taking place around, you cannot hear of any, it's rare to hear maybe a group of youth has come up with this and they may be petitioning parliament or they are taking their leaders to help them on this.
No.
So I believe everything has to be put to its function. If there is a youth council at the, if there is a youth council at the district, are you just, what are you doing? Are you just seated? Do you even go to the, do they, some districts actually, they vote and they finish the 5 years without even calling them to the district youth council. So are you doing what you're supposed to do? Then, because if you do that, different youth from different sub-counties and different areas will come up with different ideas and what is specifically challenging his fellow youth. Now when they bring it to the district and you discuss it, you will find maybe possible ways of how to address the challenge. But you will not just keep quiet. You make sure you have youth leaders, you have the National Youth Council. Then what is the gap between there? Make sure you have access. You can engage the youth leaders, the National Youth Council, your MPs, where necessary, call them to come on board, share with them, so that when they go to parliament, they introduce and shout out those issues before the parliament, see what can be done better. We need actually a lot of, we need to empower our youth structures. To me, the best way we can actually, the youth can get out of this is empowering these youth structures. Not only to use them when it is time for politics, for politicking and what, but to make them relevant.
Allow them
yes,
do what they
to
are
allow
meant
them
to
to do.
do.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, you talked about your youth member of Western Uganda not being responsive, not coming back to the people that voted him, even not understanding the problems of the youths yet.
And I don't think it is only him.
That he is representing.
Not only him that doesn't have
concentrate on that one, that we know he's not doing what he's meant to do. Now, what I want to understand is, how are you going to ensure that you remain responsive and accountable to the constituents that you represent? Those are the youths now.
You know what they call accountability. If you're voted into power and you don't associate with your electorates again, now how will they have no access to you? No one will ask you questions. But true accountability should be a leader should have, you know, the voters should have access to their leaders.
Yes.
Engage
Which is
in productive debates.
Yes.
If they have a challenge, they bring it on board and ask you, how are we going to address this? You get it?
Yeah.
So if that is done, you know, we need leaders who are really pro-youth, someone who is a youth and knows what the challenges actually the youth are facing. But if we, you know, it is also very unfortunate that, like I told you, our politics have been commercialized. A son of a minister or daughter of a minister will come up with all the money maybe the father has stolen from the government and will just buy voters. If you do that, then what do you expect?
But you also attested to it by saying you were being given money during the electoral college elections. Does that also mean that you are going to take the same trend?
Not that. To me, basically is bringing on board and giving the youth what you want to do for them.
Do you want to say you are going to engage in an election where people are buying votes and you're not going to buy votes?
You see, if we sensitized our youth and told them, you people, you're being given this money, but after voting, you'll never hear or get anything from these leaders. That is why I said we need a lot of sensitization
and youth empowerment.
Youth empowerment. You know, if we did that and told the youth, you see now, I may give an example of the election we just had in Kawempe. You saw what happened there. Yes, I may be NRM, but I really don't support what happened. You saw the JAT, the military, but people resisted and they voted who? Narukora. So if our people are well sensitized, you know, you can bring the money, you can bring what you bring on board, and people will reject it. They will vote someone they see has an idea and has a future for them. So basically, we need to do a lot of empowerment, sensitization, and all of that.
Well, I want to thank you for joining me. If I have any questions that you sent in and I didn't read them, I will want to apologize because my guest here has another engagement that he has to run to. So I am going to cut short this program to allow him go and attend to his business as the lady who is going to give us the predictions about the Uganda Cranes match joins us. So Mr. Bob, thank you for joining in.
Thank you so much.
I wish you a good day.
A good day.
Kakati abali ku Mighty Drive nga mutambudde naffe oluzungu lubadde lungi kati kambazeeko mu Luganda katono nnyo sobola okubanga mbannyonnyola bye tubadde tutambulirako tubadde twogera nsonga z'abavubuka tulonda abakulembeze b'abavubuka pa region tulonda wa Eastern tulonda wa Central tulonda ate bannange map ya Uganda bagireeseemu manya Central 1 simanya Central 2 kati nze simanyi oba ba youth MP bagenda kweyongera abawubosi bagenda kubanga batunnyonnyola ensonga eyo naye nga tubadde twogera nsonga z'abavubuka olowooza abavubuka bakaaba ffe abasinga obungi naye tulina ba members abaturepresenting abatono nnyo bataano bokka. Do you think nti twetaaga ba members abayitiridde mu parliament oba twetaaga ba leaders abamanyi kiki ekyokukola, those leaders that have our own interests at their hearts? Nti twagala omukulembeze w'abavubuka nga atambuza ensonga z'abavubuka. Abantu bangi nnyo tebamanyi n'abakulembeze b'abavubuka be tuyina ng'ate tuli bavubuka. So njagala okubakubiriza mwena abavubuka twenyigire nnyo mu by'obufuzi kubanga z'ensonga ezitutambuza tubeere abantu abagoberera ennyo ensonga ez'ebyobufuzi ebiba bigenda maaso mu ggwanga ebiba bitambula ani alondeddwa ani aturepresentinga so you can know who to ask questions kubanga mugenda kutandika okubuuza ebibuuzo nga mubibuuza. Someone was asking me this morning lwaki Buganda bagijje mu mapu ya Uganda. I'm like no, that question is not mine. So you guys are going to be asking questions to the wrong people. Now me, when you ask me why is Buganda now called Central and we don't have the Buganda, that question is not mine because first I don't work with Ubos. I cannot give you any reason. So I also saw a map that doesn't have Buganda, but also Ubos promised to kubanga bachitereza ensonga ngeyo. Kakati njagala kubategeeza ntubere abantu abagoberera ebigenda mu maaso mu ggwanga sobola okumanya ani goyina okubuuza ekibuuzo era mu budde ki. Nti bwona osanga Nyamutoolo okujjako nti state minister wa minerals eyo si nsonga yo, she's a youth MP. Kati mubuuze ensonga z'abavubuka yo abakoledde meaningful representation oba gwe omulaba bulabi n'onyumirwa nti mubaka waffe. Ebyo abavubuka nga tetubitunuulidde tojja kubanga munange tukyalaginga emabega era tukyekaabira. We are the biggest manya wiki we take the biggest percentage of the population but we are not being prioritized. Yet tuli mu minority groups. We do not even qualify to be part of the minority groups because we are now big. We take a big number of the population. Tetukyasana kubeera ku minority group. Nga njoyininga gano bategezezza nti omwaka oguwedde mu August Parliament yatutegeze genda kubeera ne parliamentary regional sittings. Regional sittings tezikyaliyo, esente bazi allocatinga. Where is the money? Ugandans ask questions because it is your role to ask questions. Check those institutions. Ask them what happened. But so isn't every 3 months bagenda kuba rotating. Abatandika negulu emyezi mukaaga ejakayitawo. What are they up to? Nenge sawa eno I have been joined with by a lady Nabukera Teddy Tenjo. Anekedde mu t-shirt ya Uganda Cranes. Era nga agenda kubanga atobuulira Uganda Cranes egenda kusamba nani era tuli mu kifo kya kumeka tuyina points mmeka kakati wini ya leero etuyamba tetuyamba singa tufuna maliri tusigalawo singa batukuba. Anyways tukyali mu World Cup qualifiers. Kakati twagala kubanga tutunuulira ensonga otine. You are welcome to the show, Madam Teidi.
Thank you so much, Farida. I am so glad to be here, more so when we have a game today. At the Mandela National Stadium. I am very excited. I have my shirt ready. 7 p.m. Twesangeyeyo because today we are going to be beating. We are going to be facing Guinea. Guinea mwesibe bili because usually when we are at our pitch, when we are home, tetutera kubwa.
Singa baba kuba.
Tebasobola. Okay, tebasobola is an overstatement, but I personally believe it's either okay.
It is a draw, a win. It is over.
It's a win. It's a win. My prediction is it's a win. It's either 1-0 or it will be 1.
Uganda eri mu kifo kya kumeka.
Uganda for now eri mu kifo kya kutaano, but whereby twandibadde na mu kyakuna, but Botswana happens to be ahead of us because of alphabetical order. Because apparently we have the same points. Tulina 6 points, all of us. Atenga olabera golo, tulina golo zezimu. So literally we have the same points, but then I think because of alphabetical order, tuli wagulu. So technically tuli mu kibinja G twandibadde ku namba 4 but because eri B ate fe tuli U
ensi
ziri mukaga where Algeria comes first with 12 points and then we have Mozambique with 12 points as well. So Guinea je tuzanyo olwaleero ina 7 points, then Botswana 6 points, Uganda 6 points and Somalia being the last with 1 point.
Olowooza singa batukatandikire ku bad note.
Bad note singa batukuba, that pushes us. Okay, we maintain our position.
Tusigala mu kyokutaano.
Kwa Somalia ekola bubi nnyo. But then, yes, tusigala mu kifo kyaffe katambo.
Singa tukuba.
Singa tukuba, that puts us in the 3rd position. Tubate tuli because so far Uganda has lost 3 games out of 5. So zinebiri zetusigaza singa tuwininga mzinebiri. Chances are high we can qualify.
Ani omulala gwe tukwata?
Omulala, so of course tujja kuba so far today we are playing with Guinea. We have already played with Morocco and
Uganda yakazamba empira emeka
5
twakagwangula emeka
tetunaba guno gwaffe gwe gwalero gwe gwaffe guno gwalero gwe gwaffe
no wait so twakakuba matches 10
no There are supposed to be 5, so twakazanyako 3. Where we haven't yet, been there. But I mean, we're at our pitch. So guno gwalero. For me, my predictions are we are winning.
I'm just seeing your energy and I don't want
to I have my shirt ready, my ticket ready. Come 7 p.m. today. Wali enambole we tugenda okubeera bane tugende tuwagira abantu baffe because we batukubire waka kigenda kwa kibinnyo. Remember that 5 months so far we are 5 months.
Possibly mu kibinja batwala timu zimeka
biri
asose no woko akulembedde kibinja
na Dakar buli kibinja batwala biri.
Do you see Uganda qualifying?
Yes, Uganda has chances of qualifying because if today we get to the 3rd position, that means our last match can put us in the 2nd or 1st position.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that positive thinking. Yadenga emipira je twakazanya tejiraga kale.
Yeah, but say tuzanye bubi yadenga kale points twaye tunaba but empira jawe sometimes it tusumbwa with the fact that sometimes tunaba bagizana ngada woman yandibade gwandio here no one is cheering you. You may end up not like. But for the times I've watched matches in Uganda. Ejawane wafe. Tubadenga tuwangula. So I'm very positive either tuwangula. It's
either win or a win.
Yes, it's either a win or a win.
So singaba kakati oyagala gamba matches ezi playing bwa waneno. Ekiziretera it is the morale. Bana Uganda je bawa abasambi.
Of course the morale because wantwala aba omuzanyi wa Manu kipa wabe onana weyaja when people hyped him. Onana weyadamo kwate empira ya kola nga kola mu binyonyonyo nga kwate mipira nga
watch the ladies that hyped Onana.
Really? Yadamo kwate empira nga kola bulungi. Oramala ndoza achamwe yava mu Uganda naye negwa we nakuzuno byakola sibitegera. But that aside, morale is very important when it comes to games. So natujuke twabiranga musomero nga wemera n'abagizi banji.
Nga batwala ba morale boosters you have to go.
So yes, definitely if we go and support our team, I assure you all, it's either 1-0 or 2-1.
But away from the performances of Uganda and all that, njaga tutunulire ku Uganda ku byomupira nga waneno nga tuvudde ku basambi. Olowooza what is lacking?
What is lacking?
As compared to kirabu ezebweru kati fe waneganda obuzibu bwaffe buvaawa.
I think for me last time
are we not being funded enough?
Maybe that, but I feel like we have improved from where we used to be. But previously I was watching the coach of Uganda Cranes and he was saying lero tuina game no he was saying actually tuina game this week and then abasambia tebanatuka mu nkambi. So I feel like abasambia they don't prepare enough. Probably they come mu nkambi late, whereas if they had been there like on time, they would probably remember abamu babira basambira different teams for some reason. So when muja muino kwemanya kai nemukuba mwezo wao nemumanye chokola and all that, but sometimes I feel like abazanyi baja late. And then also the funding, yes you're doing but not just enough. We need more funding. I want to applaud what FIFA is doing. It is really up, putting this thing on the stake. I've seen videos going around when celebrities are being invited to these matches. They are given, boxes where they have T-shirts, they have a jersey, a ball, and then a ticket, a VIP ticket. So I feel like, you are trying, but it's not yet just enough, depending on what other countries are really doing.
Nalinda bana Uganda rulinga bali mukugamba coach wa Uganda Cranes nti ainache ya mastering that he doesn't want to go against it. Nti bwaba yagamba nti Farukumi ya ino kubeera ku kyotaawo.
Line up wa bichankala nyao.
Like tajichuusa ne bwe baba bamugambye nti kusinzira bwoyo mwana inamu injury tomutandisa tutandisa ono kati bwaba yakumarking nti tadi oyinatandika game wherever or you will start the game.
I think
does that faulting him for that.
Does that call for changing a coach?
I don't know. I think abatabamo they are not just good to adjustments. Chayagala chino kubeera bwe kityo ayagala kitambule bwe kityo nga kino kubeera.
Usually it's Sarida that says criticism is very good. To take in criticism and you improve because it helps you improve. Yes, it's criticism and it helps you improve. So for me, my take home I would leave to the Uganda Cranes team today. Tubayina mwesuubira feringi nnyo bambi temutuziza wansi.
So otuwadde win.
Yeah, it's a win.
Wetunakeerera enkyanga tuli mu kyakusatu.
Yes. I assure you that. Thank you so much you all that have tuned in for this particular sector where we are ready to support the Uganda Cranes. Yes, we are going today to Zanyagini for you abadalia. If you haven't yet acquired your ticket, bambi jigule kubanga ku mulyango usually it's very hard to get a ticket. Actually to just sanga your tickets ku mulyango ogaba mojagenda kumomo it will be hard. purchase the ticket today. There's hours before 7 p.m. Go with it. Yeah.
Go support Uganda Crimes.
Yes.
Thank you so much for watching. About join us on Nakulwa. Thank you very much. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for liking and sharing. Always remember our hashtag is Mighty Drive at Talk. You can use it on Twitter, on Facebook. So you engage in the discussions, and also we broaden the discussion okubanga etoka ku bantu abalala bangi nnyo. Jagala okubanga mbasibulira wano naye nga okubalekera akalowoozo. Remember to buy Uganda, build Uganda.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.